Hi, my name is Tilly Snelling, and in my first interaction assignment, I analysed the user experience of two common social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, while planning an event with friends. With the results of my research, I concluded that there are a lot of social media platforms that are used for communication and organisational purposes, but sometimes the details can be lost within the group chat. So I created my design to have an energetic and engaging aesthetic to represent the main focus of my app, to create exciting weekend plans with your closest friends. The desired target market for this design is young adults, so I wanted to create a clean aesthetic that resonates with current trends. Considering the heuristics evaluation from other platforms in the last assessment, such as user control and freedom, consistency of user standards, flexibility and ease of use, aesthetics and minimal designs, I wanted to make sure my app covers these aspects for positive user experiences. The ideation process for me was quite streamlined, as I had a clear idea of how I wanted to display my app. I began an open discussion with my family, debating the aim, aesthetic, and function of my app. I wanted to create an app-specific functions that assist in planning an event, such as a calendar and messages within the app. I first determined the name of my app by brainstorming some ideas. When I came up with TGIF, thank God it's Friday, which is a comic acronym that encapsulates the purpose of the app in a fun and engaging way. This subsequently helped to define the aesthetic of the app. Next, I designed a logo and planned out a bright color palette with a simple wireframe and applied the color palette so that I could envision what the app would look like if it was presented digitally. I wanted to create a limited amount of text and instead display a visual representation of ideas. Then sketched up rough drawings of a more detailed layout to try and figure out the best way to present my information for accessible viewing. I then began my prototyping phase, where I started out by making a task flow that visually demonstrates the step a user must take to navigate through my app. I then created a low-fidelity paper model, which I tested on some users to gauge the usefulness of the app. This was a further development of my sketches and presented on a mock-up paper phone. With my medium fidelity prototype, I worked on a grayscale design implementing simple and limited interactions to simulate features of the final design to understand how the app will work. I conducted usability testing both through other users and analysed the function of the app individually. It started with a peer evaluation exercise where I was able to gain helpful feedback from classmates through discussion of ideas. And then with my medium fidelity prototype, I tested other users with my mock-up design. I ran each user through an evaluative survey in which I first stated the tasks that are meant to be completed when using the app. I guided them through a sequence, as not all the interactions were developed at this point. And finally, I asked 3 questions that prompted specific feedback from the user. This further analysis was extremely helpful for the development of my design, as it highlighted key issues that needed to be resolved for my final design. Through the feedback, I conducted a few iterations of my design in order for it to be more functional. During self-evaluation of the design, I realized that there needed to be more visible screens available for the user to really understand the interactivity dimensions of the app. So I added an additional recipe page and an add friends page. Through peer evaluation, I was directed to add another app-specific feature, a calculator that helps users to work out the group expenses of the trip and divide them up and share the sums within the platform, thus making it a more simplistic organizational process when using this application. More feedback indicated that there needed to be more exit affordances, allowing the user to escape and restart so they felt in control and not trapped within the application. After completing the process of prototype development, user testing, and implementing iterations, I completed my high-fidelity design with appropriate application interactions. I also created an additional format for another iPhone model to show how my digital ecosystem is visually translated on different screens. Overall, I'm very happy with the final prototype of my application. It is a simplistic and accessible design that has successfully fulfilled the tasks identified in the first assessment, while also implementing the heuristics of existing platforms to enhance the user experience. While working on my graphical user interface design on Figma, I was able to develop new skills, critically evaluate my own work, and also receive feedback from users that guided the development of the final design.